Join us at Pole Pole, where Dorcas Utkovich shows us a new perspective of what the African community is doing now.
Hello, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here at Pole Pole. I'm your host, Dorcas Utkovich, and this is Oz African TV. In the tent, I will be joined by Rukaya Springle, a young artist whose work champions issues surrounding people of color. Also here for a chat is Arthur Moleko, who is the chairperson of the Nelson Mandela Day Commemorative Committee. Then, the talented and soulful musician Francois is here to perform live. And as usual, we'll go around the city to see what's happening in our community. We have a fabulous show for you today, so be sure to stay right where you are. But first, let's get started in the kitchen with Chef Stolly. Hey Chef Stolly, what are we making today?
Just going to be doing a bit of dessert work, making some South African spice donuts.
Yum. So what does that involve?
So we got some sweet spices like ground ginger and cardamom. We're going to fry them off and then soak them in a beautiful aromatic syrup.
Sounds really sweet.
Yes, it is.
We're going to be bouncing off the walls today, which is awesome. But while you get started with the sweet things here, let's go meet my first guest. My first guest today is an artist, intersectional feminist, and an activist. She believes that everyone should promote equality through equity. In her creative practice, she highlights issues that people of color from various walks of life can relate to. Issues such as race, sexuality, religion, size, mental illness, and more. Joining me now is Rukaya Springle. Welcome to Oz African TV.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here. Firstly, let's find out about yourself. Tell us a little bit about you.
So I'm a biracial digital artist. My mum's Australian, European, and my father is Zanzibari.
Do you want to tell me about, being an artist? When did this start for you?
So I've been doing art from a young age. There was never a point where I kind of decided this is what I was going to do. But I did it all throughout my schooling, and I did my folio for VCE, and I just found that it was a good outlet to express my ideas and what I want to say.
You identify strongly as an intersectional feminist.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about, in your understanding and in your scope of work, what is intersectional feminism?
So to me, intersectional feminism is the recognition that people from all walks of life and backgrounds, such as sexuality, like depending on doesn't matter their sexuality, their race, their ability, their gender, they all have different types of oppression, and sometimes they overlap. And intersectional feminism highlights that.
And it brings me to your work. We see your work on social media, and there's one particular work that anyone, whenever we talk about you, there's one work which was part of NGV.
Yeah, it got chosen as one part to be displayed with the NGV Top Arts exhibition for 2017. And it was chosen out of 2,000 applicants, and that was one of the pieces. That was the piece that they chose.
And the work that you talk about, it's actually it's very confronting. Yeah. It's kind of it deals with issues that a lot of people are thinking about, but you came out and you actually put it in pictures and people can look at it. Can you tell me the process that you followed in choosing the subject matter and getting to the medium that you're going to use and to the final piece?
So the piece itself was part of my VCE portfolio, and my portfolio was on racial identity. So I wanted to create a piece that talked about brown and black women feeling like they need to conform to Eurocentric beauty standards.
Yeah.
I based it off a personal experience I had myself, and it kind of led from there, because even with my own hair, I've always felt that, well, I used to feel as a child that I needed straight hair to fit in, and I feel like a lot of other women of colour feel like that too.
Yeah, and you know, that makes sense, because when it came out, we all know, as you know, brown women, that the standards of beauty, although it's changing, which is a good thing. You know, there's a lot of movements, around the hair and embracing your physique and embracing your natural locks and everything. But you know, like you're saying, there was a time when you wanted to straighten your hair just to fit in, and you know, and do that kind of thing. And so the work that you do combats a lot of that, right?
Yeah. I hope I try to. Yeah. That's my aim as an artist, to try and start discussions about these issues, because they're very relevant and important, and I think we need to discuss them.
Where can we see your work? I know that you're not, you know, you've just finished high school, right? Yeah. But you're not going to become an artist, like you're not going to study art. Yeah. But you're still exhibiting. In the coming weeks, I will be displaying an array of portraits with at Afro Hub, as part of their Snap exhibition with 3 other women of colour artists, and I just completed a commissioned piece for Door Night Film, which will some of the proceeds will go to charity. Yeah. So I know that you're not going to study art, even though it's your love as well. Tell us about what what else you want to study, what else you want to focus into. So I have an interest in animals, and I want to pursue that at some point. But I feel like we should be able to do what we feel like we need to do in our lives. Yeah. Also be activists in things that affect us in our everyday life. You know, for any young women out there who are watching right now, and you know, especially women of color who have these issues that you're trying to bring forth in your work. I mean, not just only for young women, but what message do you have for them? Just basically speak up about it and do it to the best of your ability, and try to hear other people out, but also know what you stand for, and try and better the world. Thank you so much, Rukaya, for coming, and thank you so much for your beautiful advice. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. To find out more about our guests, be sure to jump on our website and our social media pages. Now, let's go and meet my second guest. Every now and then, the United Nations General Assembly declares a day to commemorate people who positively impact our society. The 18th of July marks a day to celebrate Tata Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. On this day, all citizens of the world are encouraged to devote at least 67 minutes of their time to community service. In doing so, we're encouraged to recognize our ability to make an imprint and help change the world around us. Joining me now is the chairperson of the Nelson Mandela Day Commemorative Committee, Arthur Moleko. Welcome to Oz African TV.
Thank you.
Firstly, tell us a little bit about yourself and the role that you play within the Nelson Mandela Day Commemorative Committee.
Yes, thank you for that opportunity. My name is Arthur Moleko, and the chair of the NMDCC, as you said. I come from an extensive background of involvement in the liberation struggle in South Africa. During the struggle, as young people, we engaged in a lot of international initiatives that were meant to galvanize support for the struggle against apartheid in terms of putting more economic, cultural pressure on the apartheid government. As part of that, we taught internationally, addressing university campuses, musicians, and getting them all to help withdraw their support in any way they could. Discouraging artists from performing in South Africa was one of the big ones. Encouraging international corporations, multi-corporations, from investing in South Africa was also part of that, so that their investment, making them aware, educating them that multinational corporations contribute largely in oiling the apartheid machinery to continue to oppress our people. And currently in Melbourne, I am part of the Nelson Mandela Commemorative Committee. It's a platform through which we galvanize and organize the African diaspora in Melbourne and educate them about an array of issues that affect African Australian communities.
Wow, that was a bit of history for y'all. Thank you for that beautiful answer. And, you know, we're talking about Nelson Mandela Day. Can you please tell us who is Nelson Mandela and why should people take interest in his legacy? Basically,
he was grew up a village boy who became a respected elder tribesman in his village, and went on to become a lawyer. And then that lawyer became a freedom fighter who was jailed. And as we all know, that political prisoner came out to become the first president, the first black president of South Africa. He was a beacon of the liberation movement. Through him and his efforts, we were able to mobilize South African youth, mobilize the entire nation to fight against apartheid. So doing everything you can to make your contribution towards the liberation of our country was the greatest inspiration of our generation. So he was he had quite a positive impact on us all.
Great. And about the day itself, Nelson Mandela Day, can you tell us what sort of activities you at the Nelson Mandela Day Commemorative Committee organize?
It begins with a multi-faith service at St. Paul's Cathedral. So from there, the celebrations move on to Federation Square, where we have a display of African talent, youth talent, and we have government dignitaries who will be present to address the occasion. And we have community leaders, both African and Australian and Aboriginal leaders.
We all know that youth are the future, and
Yes.
I understand that within the committee, within that sector, you encourage the youth
Yes.
to take part. Can you tell
Yes.
us some of the programs?
We
that
have
you involve?
a very unique youth program called Mandela Day 365, which aims at galvanizing youth and encouraging young people to get involved. We plan to have our youth coordinators to visit schools and talk about Nelson Mandela and educate young people, students, about Nelson Mandela, and also encourage them to dedicate a tree planting day, on which day the tree will also be named, and hopefully that will create some sort of inspiration for young people. Also, we get the regional councils involved in preaching and engaging and spreading the philosophy of Ubuntu, which is an African philosophy that encourages people to, it pretty much encourages social cohesion.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That was very educational. I hope people out there start to learn about Nelson Mandela, because he's quite a very important figure in
Yes.
globally. So
Yes,
yeah.
globally as well, we have the Nelson Mandela Ubuntu program is accepted across the globe. It is pretty much what Mandela dreamt about,
Yeah.
to bring peace to the world.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get everybody to continue the spirit.
Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Be sure to stick around, because later on we'll be treated to a live performance. But for now, let's go to the kitchen and check how Chef Stoll is going.
I don't wanna be rushing, I don't wanna do nothing
see you've started making the donuts. Can you take us through the process so far?
So I've made the spice donut mixture and let it proof for 1 hour. Next, I'm just going to make the syrup that we're going to soak it in, and hopefully you can roll some more donuts while I get that done.
I'll be happy to help. But you can cook with us by jumping on our website, and while you're there, feel free to connect with us on social media by using the hashtag AusAfricanTV, AusAfrica, and A New Perspective. Now, while I stay here and help out, you can go and enjoy the soulful sounds of Francois.
Dollar, 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 dollar. Yeah. Dollar, 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 dollar. I will spend my last dollar on you. Even if you leave me dead broke in the middle of the street, I will spend my last dollar on you. Even if you leave me dead broke in the middle of the street, I will spend my last 4 hours stuck in the airport. I missed my flight. Shit, I overslept cause I got too drunk from the show last night. Damn, you got me a ticket back. I had no money in my wallet. Said it's all good, good, baby, I got it. You're my pretty young thing, Michael Jackson 82. Moonwalking on my feelings, girl, goddamn it, look it. And I'm the man in your mirror when you need some talking to. Hit me up on my phone, in a few hours I'm home. But wait, why we gotta fight? Caught in the moment, over the pointless. Yeah, I've been to hell and back, fighting my demons, I told you them stories. And I lock on my heart, gave you the keys, I said you could own it. So at the end of the day, I will spend my last dollar on you. Even if you leave me dead broke in the middle of the street, I will spend my last dollar on you. Even if you leave me dead broke in the middle of the street, I will spend my last dollar on you. Even on the street, I will never get it. Ooh, I will spend my last dollar on you. Nobody else listen, guess who had my back? And all the shit we went through, I will pay you back. And time will tell how long we'll go down this road. Still, I gotta let you know, you're my pretty young thing, Michael Jackson 82. Moonwalking on my feelings, girl, goddamn it, look at you. I'm the man in your mirror when you need some talking to. Hit me up on my phone, in a few hours I'm home. But wait, why we gotta fight? Caught in the moment, over the pointless. Yeah, I've been to hell and back, fighting my demons, I told you them stories. Had a lock on my heart, gave you the keys, I said you could own it. So at the end of the day, I will spend my last dollar on you. Even if you leave me dead broke in the middle of the street, I will spend my last dollar on you. Even if you leave me dead broke in the middle of the street, I will spend my last dollar, 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 dollar.
Well, before we talk about the track, just tell us a little bit about who is Francois.
Francois is a Melbourne artist, born in Zimbabwe and came to Australia when he was young, and now he's doing music.
Yeah.
That's the
This
story.
is you.
Yeah.
Awesome. So tell us about this track.
This track's called Last Dollar. I just released the music video last week.
Saw it.
Yeah, it's
Looks
on Spotify
cool.
right now. Thank you very much. Yeah. It was just like a song that made me write honestly. Like it made me like see things as they are and write about them as they are instead of making up some stuff.
Yeah.
And it came out well, and I love it. Like,
Awesome. It did come out well, and I'm pretty sure a whole lot of people will love it. It's a beautiful track.
I hope they do.
Hope you do. And how can people get your music?
You can follow me at francoistunes on the internet, like Twitter, Instagram, all social medias. I'm up there.
And can they buy your music?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously. Especially
Of course.
this track, like it's on iTunes right now.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
good, great. And are you the is it Triple J Unearthed?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, they played my song last week, and apparently I'm in rotation over there, and I'm loving it.
It's
Like,
good,
yeah,
hey?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that wonderful performance, and we will see you a little bit later because you're going to do
pleasure.
another one.
I'll be back. Yeah.
But for now, let's go around Melbourne to see what's happening in our community.
Get excited because we are going to be meeting the best of the best of Melbourne, Australia. Our youth, our Africans coming together. We are going to be doing big things. And tonight is going to be a big collaboration, a big boom. It's going to be a big blast. Right? Enjoy.
So I've been the Shadow Minister for Multicultural Affairs for nearly 3 years.
Right.
On behalf of the Liberal and National Coalition. I've had a lot to do with the African communities.
Right.
Amazed at the talent, the achievements that people could have come to Australia with and also achieved here. And I think if there's an opportunity to showcase that and provide an inspiration to others, both in the African communities and others, I think it's a great initiative.
I have a small business called Butterfly Visions, which means a digital online platform for storytelling. Life is about stories.
Yes,
it's about connections, and the stories do connect us with who we are. It brings out the human spirit, and it is a great platform for creating social change.
So I'm the creative director at Studio Badu. So I run a graphic design studio. This one here.
Oh, Studio Badu.
Yeah. So and I created all the Oz African TV branding, and
I'm the Youth Commissioner with the Victorian Multicultural Commission, and I guess I'm here because I love youth engagement and I love everything that you guys are doing.
And what got you into it to begin with?
I guess I've always been passionate about helping others, particularly, I guess, trying to make sure that there's a voice for minority groups and vulnerable sort of individuals in our community. So it's always just been about wanting to make sure I'm in a position where I can advocate for people that need to, have their voices heard.
Right. And how long have you been doing this for?
So this is my second year into the role at the Victorian Multicultural Commission.
I'm excited. I'm really excited about what today has to bring. Okay, so I'm a lawyer and also the co-founder of the Incubate Foundation, which is a foundation that mentors young African Australians. And so we partner with Dorcas in a lot of things. She was actually at our youth conference last week, talking about how to build a media empire like hers. So I'm just so excited for today and to see what's going to happen.
Now, one of Dorcas's favorite quotes, and now it's one of my favorite quotes, is the saying that the sky is big enough for all the birds of the air to fit. Now, to Dorcas, what I think this means to her is when we all come together, we can encourage each other, we can work together, and we can give each other opportunities. And when I think of that proverb, I think that's exactly who Dorcas is.
I would like to thank you all for taking your time on a Saturday afternoon to come here to Pole Pole. It's up to us to create the change that we want to see, especially not just for ourselves, but for our children and their children as well. No longer will we tolerate the outsiders to enter on an anthropologist ticket to take our stories and then return them to us, not only diluted to the core, but with a hefty price tag as well. We are lucky to be alive at this time of hyper technology, with social media and global connection at our fingertips. We are now able to see the power of storytelling at a global scale. I'm Dorcas Utkovic, and this is Oz African TV.
Thank you, Chef Stolly. These look absolutely delicious. I can't wait to tuck in. But today it's been fabulous. Thank you so much to our wonderful guests, guys. Thank you so much for coming. And to you, thank you for watching. If you would like to find out more about everything that happened on today's show, feel free to jump on our website and connect with us on our social media pages. From all of us, it's love and light, and we will see you next time.
I remember back when it was back in 2010. Summertime in December was burning again. I told myself I was gonna go get it again. All along I had the power inside of me, man. I'm talking champagne, wishes, caviar. Life is what you make it. Women dancing, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy, mercy like a dream. Lord have mercy, mercy like a dream. Lord have mercy. makes it look like a dream.